Hello and welcome back to this Read a Book Everyday Challenge, where I'm reading a new book every single day for the entire month of October. This is my book for day 5, Cosy Girl 4 by Willow Hurst. My edition came with sprayed edges and I'm pretty certain I got it in Asda. So it was on the 2 for £8.98 deal. So I paid £4.99 for it. And I'm going to start this review off by telling you all that's 499 pennies too much. Okay, I don't have it in me at this level of tired to sit here and try to come up with nice things to say. I cannot find anything about this book redeemable. I hated reading it. I know this video is going to be short, but it's because I don't want to just put like a long negative piece of content up on the internet. The premise of this book had promise. It's a second chance romance where the main character Penny returns to Magnolia Springs after a career as a chef in San Francisco has kind of blown up. She reconnects with her former boyfriend Ethan and we get a spicy seasonal cozy romance. And I will say all those things about it are true. It just missed the boat for me. First thing that wound me up, we start off the story and we find out that Penny's dad's name is Philip. And you might think, Christy, why does that bother you? But her name is Penny Larkin, her dad's name is Philip Larkin, and that is never acknowledged ever in this entire book. His name is Philip Larkin and no one even makes like a passing reference to it or a joke. It's just a thing. And part of me was like, do we not know who Philip Larkin is? Like, why is that not at least like joked about? So yeah, that really early on bothered me. The fact that the MMC's name was Ethan was also very, very difficult for me because that is my brother's name. But normally I can brush that kind of stuff off, but I was just not in the best of places yesterday. Like, I wanted something easy, I wanted something spicy, I just wanted to switch off. I was so tired after Alchemized, and actually I hadn't mentioned this in my video, but my body ached. And I realised I was sat in the same position pretty much for 12 entire hours that day. So yesterday when I was reading this, I was like, I just want to chill. And then I started reading this and I was like, oh sweet Jesus. No. I wanted you to be good. I wanted you to be pleasant. I wanted vibes. And it gave me none. She's there working on an orchard. It is autumn, they are doing the harvest. I literally cannot think of many things that would be more vibey. They go to a bonfire. She's a chef and she's cooking him dinner. Like, it had all the promise and just every single thing missed. Now, Penny broke up with Ethan because she wanted to become a chef and she felt like him being her boyfriend and best friend, he'd talk her out of it when they finished school. But the other problem is Ethan's twin sister is also her best friend, so she didn't tell either of them, so both of them are salty. And Trisha, the sister, makes Penny promise when she comes back to town that she's going to leave Ethan alone because she broke his heart. And so really the only conflict in this story is her not wanting to annoy Trisha, and it's just like, whatever. I did like, and it was a different take than normal, Ethan being very overt straight away. Like, she comes back and he's like, I don't want you to leave, I want you to stay, this is my second chance, I've always missed you. I was like, hello, that has promise, you know, rather than it be a reluctant bitter exes, you know, she's trying to win him over and at least be friends with him again, and he's like, no, I can't move on, you left without saying goodbye. Instead, that conflict just wasn't there, and I went, oh, this could be a little bit different, because he sees her and he's like, I'm not letting you get away twice, and then he's the pursuer, and I was like, maybe I'm going to love this. And then they flirt a bit, he's nice to her, they do stuff in a cinema, which I'm just gonna say, right, think of all the poor other people in that cinema screening who were in the presence of lurid I don't like some scenes like that can be written well, but just on the surface, I do think there are appropriate places and inappropriate places to write public scenes. There's one later on in this book where they're in like a field and there's horses. That's fine. Don't mind that. They leave this event, they go, they do stuff, they come back and it's like, oh, we were outside. That kind of gets me hot and bothered. That, I can get behind that. You haven't had the potential to actually negatively impact anyone. You have had sex in a public place without, you know, the risk of actually traumatizing somebody. But in a cinema, like, all I kept thinking of was that nowadays, at least in cinemas here in the UK, they have cameras. And to be fair, that's done because different seats cost different prices, and so they're checking to see if people sneak into screenings and stuff like that. But could you imagine being the poor minimum wage cinema screen staff member looking at the camera and being like, oh, he's got his hand down her pants, they're doing stuff at the back of the cinema screen? I bet it happens all the time, and I'm like, that's just... No, go do it in a field like normal people. You want the risk with like a little bit of safety there so that you can just fully commit to enjoying the act. And I was just reading that scene of them in the cinema going, oh no. You're in a room with other people who haven't consented to that. You know, I don't mind if they're at a party and they go into another room, or they like lock a bathroom door and they do it and it's like, oh, this is scandalous, we could get caught kind of thing. I don't even mind if they go into another room at an event and they don't lock the door and it's like, oh, the thrill of maybe we could get caught. That is fine, okay? That's fine, because you've removed yourself from the place where completely innocent people who have not consented to being a part of your sexual act can just actually be affected by it. But doing it in the same room as other people that haven't consented and trying to make it like, ooh, hot and taboo, I was just reading it a bit like, actually, ick. This isn't written well enough for me to be vibing with it. This is just making me feel uncomfortable, and actually, it's annoying me. What else didn't I like? I didn't really like Trisha. I didn't make you like her enough for you to care about the fact that she was the one who didn't want Penny and Ethan to get back together. And then, the stuff about Penny's job, it was just so underdeveloped. Like, she ends up leaving after a big blow up at work between her and the chef she works for, and I was like, oh, are we going to get into some, like, what was going on? What was the conflict? It was nothing. I just looked at it and was like, I didn't feel the weight at all of Penny's connection to her job. And considering it was supposedly so all-encompassing, she didn't really have a life outside of being this chef, to then hear what the blow-up was and it just be like, he took credit for my work. And so I shouted at him and I walked out and now I'm done. I was a bit like, well, if the root then is anger and disappointment on other people, like, by the time the book's like that, there's just none of that. She's not an energetic, passionate person who you see, like, gripping the wheel. I've seen enough episodes of The Bear to be like, I don't get this. I don't get her. And then for Ethan to conveniently have a friend who also happens to be a very famous, successful chef. And then for the conflict to actually just be miscommunication. I was reading it like, no. The spice was alright. Like, the spice scenes were okay. I will admit, I was very tired. My eyes were just kind of glazing over. And I'm sorry, but I love a spicy scene. And for my eyes to be glazing over, I'm not saying it's bad, but you can infer what you want to infer. So overall, guys, I can't recommend this book. It's getting a 1 star from me. If it had just had more... if it had just been successful in giving me autumn and spice that actually made me feel something. Oh, there is a bug right in front of the camera. Be gone. No. Go away. Yeah, if it had at least been successful in making me feel anything other than, then I could have given it a more favourable star rating, but I can't. It's just getting a 1. And I swear to God, guys, if I read another book as part of this challenge where an author chooses to refer to a woman's labia as her faults, it will be my 13th reason, and I will stop posting these videos because I will not be here anymore. Why? There you go. That's a great way to... How's the book, Christy? She described labia as her faults. And that's it. I sent a couple of friends a reaction photo of me after having read the words her faults, and the general consensus was, I hate it when authors do that. In fact, I had a few going, I've got that book. Don't tell me that's from that book. And I was like, it is. Just a little insight into what it's like to be my friend at the minute. I would prefer velvet wrapped steel to folds. Because I'll tell you what it did is it makes me think of one of the greatest pieces of literature ever, Belinda Blinked. If you've not listened to the podcast, My Dad Wrote a Porno, I'm going to tell you now, as a romance reader, it is phenomenal. It is fantastic. The premise of My Dad Wrote a Porno is that one of the 3 people in the group of friends who do this podcast found out that his dad publishes erotica under the pen name Rocky Flintstone. And so every episode is him reading a chapter of erotica that his dad has written to two of his friends. and I swear to God, it's the worst, best written thing that I've ever experienced in my life. Like the Rocky Flintstone's Belinda Blinked books. I looked at trying to buy copies of them. I wanted special editions of Belinda Blinked, right? But it starts off and it's such a good setup. He explains what's happened, that they're all there together at the dinner table, and he's just going to start reading. He's like, please take this seriously, guys. And within 2 words, they're guffawing. They're like, oh my God, no. But in the very, very first episode of My Dad Wrote a Porno, he referred to, instead of like lips or folds, he used the word lid. And Alice, who is the girl in the friendship group, she's going like a Tupperware. And so when I saw folds in this, my brain went folds to lips to Tupperware to like, oh. And the problem is Belinda Blinked is more enjoyable than this, because while Belinda Blinked is terrible, it's like the story of those erotic novels. It's a full-blown series. Seriously, I'm not going to recommend going and getting the books, right? But you should absolutely listen to the podcast, right? It's the only podcast I have ever consistently listened to, and I think it's one of the most brilliant pieces of media that exists. If you take anything from this video, it's don't read this book, but do go and listen to My Dad Wrote a Porno, because it's so brilliant. And I'll tell you now, I would rather read 1,000 pieces of Rocky Flintstone's writing than this again. So yeah, all in all, not worth the $4.99 I paid for it. I hated this book, and I don't have the energy right now to be nice about it. I'm just gonna tell you, I was annoyed at myself. I finished this and went, I could have picked up any other book. I could have picked anything else up. Why did you let me down? Because that's what you did. You let me down. There we go. That's my review. That's how day 5 of this Read a Book Everyday Challenge went. And I'm sensing a theme with the normal contemporary romances. Okay? I might have to stick clear from them for a while. Paranormal contemporary romances, they've been okay. High fantasy hasn't done me wrong. But the contemporary romances, my normal bread and butter, there's something in the water right now. I don't know what is going on. But this, I don't even know what I'm going to do with it now. If you've enjoyed this video at all, I don't know why you would. Please give this a like. In fact, if you've got a copy of this, let me know. Just let me know if you've got it, right? Because if you've not read it, and this video is the first review of this book you've seen, I can only imagine what your response is going to be. And if you don't already, please give this channel a follow. Join me as I work my way through this reading challenge. Thank you very, very much for watching the video. I will see you later, alligators. Wish me luck for day 6 of the challenge. I don't even know what I'm going to end up picking up yet. You know what it's not going to be? It's not going to be a contemporary romance novel. I can tell you that for free. But let's see how it goes. I'll see you later, alligators. Goodbye for now.